Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tarure Gatere, and if this is your first time here, I share a bunch of different videos on so many different topics: spirituality, self-love, personal development, veganism, natural living, really anything that comes to me. I'm kind of all over the place. So welcome to my video. This video is a continuation of the last video that I did, which was about what I call the dark night of the soul and my experience with it. First of all, I have to say that I was very nervous when I was posting it because being that raw and open and vulnerable, although I do it a lot, is also still quite scary. You just don't know if it's too much. Like, should I be sharing this? Is this okay? But also, as being a life coach, there's something about wanting to look like you have it together because you're helping people achieve their goals. You're basically a place that people come to get guidance. And so there was a part of me that was like, oh my gosh, I hope this doesn't come off like I don't know what I'm doing, which in essence is true. Like I do have insights that come from my training, but generally I'm still a human being. Just figuring this life shit out. And so because I'm a life coach doesn't mean that now I'm perfect. I recognize that as just my ego rising up and making noise. But yeah, so after I posted a video, I got a lot of responses from people, and also because I've been sharing about my experience on my Instagram. And by the way, feel free to follow me at Terure Gatere. And sharing my experience lately has led people to reach out to me, send me messages, DM me, sometimes even phone calls, and I really appreciate it because it shows me that sharing it was right, and it shows me that we're not these it's something that many of us go through. A lot of people who had been through the same experience were talking to me, and or people who are currently in that experience. And I feel like there's so much power in sharing our stories because when I was in that place, also hearing other people's experiences with it made me feel like I wasn't crazy, made me feel like I was actually okay experiencing what I was experiencing. And so if I can do that for someone else, I am so happy to, because that made me feel like I'm going to be okay. And that's one thing I want to say. If you're inside your darkness right now, if you're in the dark night of the soul, if you're in your dark night of the soul, I want you to know that it's going to be okay. As cheesy as that sounds, but it's true. It's going to be okay. So here are 5 lessons that I have learned so far from walking through this dark night of the soul. And this is by no means a complete list, but they're the biggest things that I've learned so far. I'm still learning, you guys, but yeah, these are the things that have taken me through. The first lesson, and I feel like this was like the most important thing, I even mentioned it in the last video, is surrender. Surrender is the place to be. And what I mean by surrender is being connected to source and just letting go of the situation and just being like, I can't do this anymore, and giving it to source. There's this prayer that the anonymous groups use: God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, to the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I feel like that is the accurate representation of what happened because I had been trying to fix things in my life on my own. I'd been trying to fix my relationship, I'd been trying to fix my work, I'd been trying to fix me. I was trying, and it was like in a way like I was fighting against myself. First of all, there was a lot of denial. Then there was the point where I was like, I can do this and I'm going to do this. And there's nothing wrong with that. But how life works is, at least the way I've come to understand it, is I'm co-creating in this life with my soul and basically with my source. And so that spiritual side of me, which is the higher self, is there to support me. And there are certain things that will happen in life that I have no control over, and certain aspects of myself that I can't change on my own. And it's not a sign of weakness. It's actually just how it is. When I let go and I let God, then I wasn't just relying on my own personal egoic strength to get through it. I was allowing for what growth needed to happen within myself, for what guidance needed to be given to me, so that now I can change the things that I can change, and what I can't change, I just accept it. When I finally surrendered, I think I slept for like, I mean, I really started to sleep. That was part of it. Part of the surrender was I just want to rest because, like I had mentioned in the previous video, my body was so worn out. It gave me so much peace, and I was actually able to rest, which I feel like was a big thing that helped me in this journey. The second lesson that I learned is that life was asking me to stop and listen. And there's this quote that I love from Oprah, where she says that life will get your attention. When life is trying to teach you something, it'll get your attention. And first, it'll start with a soft nudge, and then it'll be a bit stronger, and then a bit stronger. And if you don't awaken to what life is trying to tell you, life will just like smack you over the head, and you have to pay attention to it. And that's what I felt like was happening every time that I've gone through darkness. It can even be something like I've lost someone and I'm grieving, or I lost something. Like, it can be an outer event that happens, but when I look at it, there's something usually that life has been trying to tell me. Let me give you an example. Life had been trying to tell me that I wasn't listening to my intuition. There was a way that I was living that was not true to who I was. And so life was trying to get my attention with that. But I was so busy trying to force this life that I was living into something that I wanted, that I wasn't listening. And so I just kept spiraling down this darkness until I got to rock bottom, and it had to be a place where I was like, okay, now I'm going to listen because I don't have any other choice. I have nothing else. I have to stop and listen. And I kind of wish I had listened before, but at the same time, I think it's okay that I didn't, because it got to the place where now it was either accept or die. The third lesson that I learned was to let go of everything that no longer serves me. Some of it I'm still letting go of even now, but I feel like a dark night of the soul is like a death. It's like a death of an old part of you, something that was no longer serving you, a way of life that is no longer necessary, a chapter in your life that's closing. I feel like it's an end. It's like a death. And today on my Instagram, I posted about, there's this quote that something about how darkness is actually you being planted in the ground. And if you think about it, a seed being planted in the ground, that's pretty dark. And if you think about it further, for the seed to germinate, it has to die as the seed. And I think it's even that parts of it decompose to feed the growth and the germination of the seed. And that's a death and a rebirth. And that's how it works in life, death and rebirth together. So letting go of things that no longer serve you is definitely a part of the process, whether that's beliefs that no longer serve you, people that no longer serve you, situations that no longer serve you. And you will know that these things don't serve you by whether they drain your energy or they feed you. And sometimes it can be really scary to let go of certain things. I had to let go of the relationship because it was no longer serving me, but it was a hard thing for me to do because I really, really loved my partner. I had to let go of some of my beliefs, which was a really hard thing to do, but I had to, because the thing is, even though some things don't serve you, they still feel very comfortable and safe. It's like familiarity. And I was charting a path into the unknown, and so it would feel more comfortable to stay with what I know, but then that's not benefiting me. So I had to let go of that. I had to let go of certain friendships just because they weren't beneficial to me anymore. And that's the thing that's so beautiful about being in darkness, is when you stop, when you surrender, when you listen, you will be able to see very clearly which things are in your life are feeding you and which things are draining you, and start to make the moves, even if it's step by step, little by little. Start to make the moves to let go of these things. So the fourth thing that I learned was to look inside myself for my truth. I stopped looking outside for other people's validation and love and acceptance, and this is something that I have been working on for a long time. I've been on this journey for a while, but I had put someone's opinion higher than my own. I had looked for someone's validation outside of myself. I had looked for my truth elsewhere. And the thing is, nothing in your life can make up for, no one in this life can make up for lack of self-love or lack of self-worth within yourself. If you do not build that and cultivate that within yourself, then you will not be able to get it anywhere else. And I just had to come to that realization and build that within myself and say to myself, I am worthy, and start to believe it, to believe that I am worthy, that I am loved, that I am, because when you don't tend to that connection within yourself, then you start to starve. You start to starve emotionally and spiritually and mentally. And rebuilding that connection with my source has been the most rewarding, refreshing, recalibrating thing that I could ever have done. The fifth lesson that I learned was sacred selfishness. I love this term, because when we think about selfishness, it's always in a way that someone is, we say self-centered and they're self-serving, and so they don't think of anybody else but themselves. They're egotistic. They're just always about themselves. And there was a negative connotation for me when I thought about selfishness. But nowadays I have come to see the value of selfishness. And the best way, I had this conversation with a friend of mine, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about, I was telling her how I'm selfish and I love to feel good. I love it when I feel good, and I'm selfish in that way. And it hadn't been something that I'd thought about in that way. But sacred selfishness is where you put yourself in the center of your life. And it ties into the number 4 lesson, because you understand that you are your source of love, of support. And when I say you, you know that I mean you connected to your source, not this personality, not the ego. I'm talking about the life giving essence that we are connected to. And that when you put yourself in the center of your life, you realize that you are the creator of your life, you are the creator of your experiences. Some things you don't have control over, but you do have control over how you react to things, and you do have control over the decisions that you make in your life. And those decisions that you make, and those decisions that you make, the little steps that you take, form your life, because then it turns into a way of being, it turns into a habit. So for example, one of the things that I did, putting myself in the center of my life, was that I decided that I was going to take care of myself. And I've been a proponent of this self-care, self-love attitude for a very long time, but this is when I feel like I really, really started to practice it. And so taking care of myself meant what? It meant that I was making healthier choices when it came to what I'm eating. It meant that I was exercising, moving my body, not over stressing it, but just exercising in ways that felt good for me. It meant that I was only putting myself in situations as much as I can that feel good for me. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but if I was in a situation that didn't feel good for me, then I allowed myself to put up my boundaries and not necessarily engage in harmful energy. I ended up having a disagreement with someone close to me in my life a couple of months ago, and I just basically told them, I need to not engage with you for a while, because I'm just not I'm taking care of myself. I'm in a really vulnerable place, and this person was being a bit abusive to me, so I was just verbally abusive, not like physically. But so to protect my energy and to care for myself, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to engage with you. So I protected myself in that way. I put myself first, and that doesn't necessarily mean just in sensual pleasurable ways where it's like selfishness, like gratification of the ego. No, it's also recognizing what is the healthiest thing for me and doing that for myself. What will give me peace of mind? It became so clear to me that my peace of mind is the most important thing to me in the world. I don't care what I have to let go of to keep my peace of mind. And that to me is sacred selfishness, because I'm not willing to compromise on that. I'm putting myself first. I'm putting myself first, and I have no apologies at all for that. And that was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life, because I did not have to think about anybody else. That didn't mean that I didn't have compassion. It doesn't mean that then I don't think about the people in my life, that I'm not kind, I'm not there for the people in my life. No, I'm there for them, but I will not sacrifice me or my peace of mind for anything in the world. Yeah, because you can tell the difference between giving yourself in a way that's good, that's healthy for even the people around you, but mostly for yourself. And giving is such a beautiful part of being human. Give all you can give, but don't give to the point where it drains you. Don't give to the point where now it becomes a chore, or it starts depleting you. That doesn't help anyone. And so those are my 5 biggest lessons that I learned during the Dark Night of the Soul. I hope that this video has been educational, inspiring, anything really. So I thank you so much for watching, guys. It feels so good to have you guys reaching out to me constantly and having conversations with me. Please continue to feel free to do that. I love talking to you. And wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I'm sending you so much love. Please take care of yourself, and yeah. Bye.